Okay, motivation and retention. These are the learning objectives. Right. So according to the book, Keeping the People Who Keep You in Business by Leigh Branham, Branham 2000, the cost of losing an employee can range from 25% to 200% of that employee's salary. So ganun ka siya ka-costly. Okay? Some of the costs cited revolve around customer service disruption and loss of morale among other employees, burnout of other employees, and the costs of hiring someone new. No, kaya malaking investment ang mawawala no pag ang tao, ang employee ay umalis ng company or organization. That's why 'di ba as we are discussing in the previous lectures, yung pag-hire pa lang ay magastos na, no? So what more then pag umalis yon since yung empleyado na yon ay may alam na sa company at alam na niya yung pasikot-sikot sa company, yung mga proseso ng company. Okay, so when you say turnover, okay, it means losing an employee, right? That's what turnover is. So there are two types of turnover. We have the voluntary and involuntary turnover. When you say voluntary turnover, it is initiated by the employee for different reasons. Okay, umalis, no? May personal na rason kung ano man yan. No? Pwedeng mag-abroad or better opportunities, family reasons, health reasons, yan, under voluntary turnover. Pag involuntary turnover naman, employee has no choice in their termination. Natanggal sa trabaho. For example, employee or employer rather initiated due to non-performance. Okay? So yan yung sa involuntary turnover. Okay, so ang turnover can be calculated by the formula. So yun nasa screen. So formula, separations during the time period, okay, for that month. No? So divided by the total number of employees with mid-month times 100. So that's the percentage of turnover. For example, for January, kasi nagbigay na ng 13 months, so marami na nag-resign ng January, no? So let's assume that there were 3 separations for the month of January, and when there are 115 employees mid-month, no? Mid of January. So we calculate the turnover by 3, yung tatlong umalis. Okay, tatlong nag-resign. And then divided by 115 employees for that mid-month, no, mid ng January, times 100. Okay, so there's a 2.6% turnover rate. So 3 divided by 115 times 100. Okay, that gives the company the overall turnover rate for the entire organization. Okay, but you also want to calculate turnover rate based on region or department to gather more specific data. For example, sa tatlong nag-resign, dalawa doon is from accounting department. So sa accounting department, merong 10 empleyado. So you calculate that turnover rate by, say sa accounting lang, accounting department, dalawa ang nag-resign sa kanila, 10 sila. So 2 divided by 10 times 100 equals 20%. So 20% turnover rate from the accounting department alone. So that means the turnover rate in accounting department is alarmingly high compared to the overall company's turnover rate. So ibig sabihin, there may be something happening in this department to cause unusual turnover. Okay? So in HR, they separate the costs associated with turnover into indirect and direct costs. So when you say direct turnover costs, it include the cost of living mismo sa empleyado, no? Replacement costs and transition costs. Okay, syempre magta-transition yan from that old employee to the new one, no? So dadaan pa ng training yan, di ba? So dadaan ng training, ng hiring process, ng training. So yan yung sa direct turnover cost. So sa employee mismo. So while indirect turnover cost include the loss of production and reduced performance. So nabawasan yung productivity hindi lamang nung team na yon, but of course the entire department and the organization na rin. Kasi nga may nawala or may mga nawalang tao na tumutulong sa pag-run or pag-operate ng business or ng isang particular department. So therefore, pababawasan or nabawasan din ang performance, bumaba ang performance. Okay? So the following are some examples of turnover costs. So recruitment of replacements, okay, so administrative hiring costs, lost productivity associated with the time between the loss of the employee and hiring of replacement, lost productivity due to a new employee learning the job. Okay, lost productivity associated with co-workers helping the new employee because instead of focusing on their tasks and job, so yung time nila ay nakukonsumo nung pagtuturo sa bagong empleyado. Okay, kasi naiiwan nila yung kanilang workstation. Then cost of training. So ayan, na-discuss natin yan kung gaano kamahal din ang mag-train ng bagong empleyado. Cost associated with employees' lack of motivation prior to leaving dahil nga hindi na siya motivated at wala na siyang gana, so hindi na siya nagiging productive, so naaapektuhan ng performance niya, naaapektuhan ng performance ng team at ng buong company. And then sometimes the costs of trade secrets and proprietary information shared by the employee who leaves. So yung mga information about the company or strategies na ang company lang ang nakakaalam ay na-share niya doon sa nilipatan niya. Okay, pwedeng doon sa nilipatan niyang company na bago. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, nakuhanan na ng strategy itong company na to dahil nga na-share nung nag-resign na employee doon sa kanyang bagong pinasukang trabaho. No, like what happened before nung sa aming boss, sa aming district manager. So, nag-resign siya from the company and then yung nilipatan niyang bagong company na, yun nga, pharmaceutical din, shinare niya no, yung information on how to gather sales data from Mercury Drug. So, walang nakakaalam nun except sa company na kung saan siya nanggaling kasi yung company na yon ay nag-spend ng ang tawag dito para makakuha ng data. Okay, so gumagastos sila. So, hindi basta-basta sila nakakuha. Kung meron silang parang tie-up doon sa drugstore para makuha yung data. Eh, na-share yon doon sa bagong company. So, that's, diba? So, nakuha na kagad. Nawalan na kagad sila doon ng nakuha na yung strategy nila ng ibang company. Then, public relations costs. Then, yan, to avoid these costs, development of retention plans is an important function of the HR strategic plan. So again, part ang retention plan ng overall HR strategic plan. So retention plans outline the strategies the organization will use to reduce turnover and address employee motivation. So this is a table of the example of direct and indirect costs. Hindi ko na binasa. Then, reasons for voluntary turnover. Okay, bakit ang HR, syempre, of course, before discussing specific details on retention planning, it's important to address the reasons bakit umaalis or why people choose to leave an organization to begin with. Okay? So, one mistake HR professionals and managers make is yung assumption nila that people live solely on the basis of their unhappiness with their compensation package. Di ba na-discuss na natin ito before? No, where in fact, there are many factors that can cause demotivated employees. Di ba na-discuss na rin natin yan before. No? So, yan, pagka na-discover na ni HR yung causes ng voluntary turnover, then they can develop retention strategies to reduce turnover. And these are some of the reasons why employees leave the company or organization. Ayan, yung mga nasa screen. So there's a poor match between the job and the skills of the employee. Okay, so ito, kaya nga recruitment process pa lang, pinipili ng maigi yung tamang tao for the job, by the right person for the job. Okay, so this is because this reason is directly related to the recruitment process. Pag may poor match, it can cause frustration doon sa employee na hindi magawa yung trabaho niya at sa manager na syempre nai-stress gawa ng hindi alam ng tao niya kung ano yung ginagawa nun, no? Kung ano yung trabaho. So, ayan, of course, ensuring the recruitment phase is viable and sound, it is the first step, no, to making sure that there's the right match between job and skills. Okay? And lack of growth. Of course, when employee feels that he's being stuck, no, or stagnant sa kanyang career, sa company na yon, sa kanyang trabaho, and wala siya makitang way para umangat, no, ng career ladder niya sa company, then aalis at aalis. Okay, ano ba yung pwedeng strategy ng HR? Implementing a training program, no, and in HR must develop a clearly defined path, no? Parang na-discuss na rin natin to nung mga previous topics. There should be a clearly defined path, no, or a career ladder, no, for job growth. Okay, para maiwasan yung pag-alis ng employee. Then internal pay equity, na-discuss din natin to. Pag hindi siya satisfied sa kanyang pay at naiko-compare yon yung pay niya sa pay ng ibang employees. Okay? So yan, na-discuss na rin natin. And then management. Okay, many employees, ito ang isa sa mga reasons din nila kung ba't sila umaalis. So this can be attributed to overmanaging or what we call micromanaging, yung super bantay na bantay, no, yung parang wala nang tiwala yung manager sa kanyang empleyado. Okay, so micromanaging. So managers not being fair or playing favorites. Right? Lack of or poor communication by managers and unrealistic expectation of managers. So masyado nag-expect ng mataas doon sa employee na hindi na kayang maabot nung empleyado na yon kung ano man yung set goals and expectations ng managers. And then workload, nabanggit yun kanina ni Dr. Kilimang Guru, no? Sobrang bigat ng workload, no, at napapagod na, no, yung empleyado, na burnout na siya, no, as a result dahil do sa mabigat na workload na yon, nawawalan na ng work and life balance. So hindi na siya balanse, no? Masyado na siyang yung buhay niya ay puro na lang trabaho, hanap buhay na siya ng hanap buhay na nakalimutan na niyang mabuhay. Okay, may kasabihan ng gano'n, di ba, class? And then yeah, there is this reasons for employee turnover. Okay, basahin nyo yan. And then, ayan, sample picture ng isang burnout na empleyado. Okay. Yan. Okay, so as HR professionals and managers, they want to be sure that they have plans in place na to keep their best people. And one such plan is the retention plan. Okay, and we'll begin that through effective high performance work systems or HPWS. So when you say HPWS or high performance work system, this is the name given to a set of systematic HR practices that create an environment where the employee has greater involvement and responsibility for the success of the organization. So it should be part of the strategic plan of HR. So dapat the employee must have an involvement, or he feels or she feels involved, no, to the organization. So feel niya siya ay part ng overall success ng organization. Okay? So an HPWS is a strategic approach to many of the things an HR does, including retention. Okay? So generally speaking, an HPWS gets employees involved in conceiving, designing, and implementing processes that are better for the company and better for the employee, which increases retention. So this is the a figure, no, for the HR's role in creating high-performance work system. So basahin niyo na yan, class, no? Ayan. So hindi ko na iisa-isahin yan. Okay, so nakita niyo dito yung empowerment, ano? This is very important. Right? Okay, so keeping that in mind, yung HPWS, an HR can begin to develop retention plans. Okay? And the first step in that process is to understand some of the theories on job satisfaction and dissatisfaction, or else hindi nila ma-develop ng maayos yung kanilang retention strategies. No, without, of course, yun nga, taking into the consideration the HPWS and also the different theories. No, kaya nga ang HR, di ba, may psychology. Minsan na kinukuha nila HR, graduating in psychology, no? Isa rin yan, no? To identify or to take into consideration the different theories on job dissatisfaction. Okay, so we have first, no, we have the progression of job withdrawal. Okay, so alamin muna, no, paano ba natin ma-implement yung mga strategies. So, syempre, alamin kung bakit, ano ba yung mga theories, no, involved sa job dissatisfaction. First is the progression of job withdrawal. So, the first step to developing a retention plan is understanding some of the theories surrounding job satisfaction. And the first is the progression of job withdrawal theory. It's developed by Dan Farrell and James Peterson. Okay, 1984. Okay, so it says that people daw develop a set of behaviors in succession to avoid their work situation. Okay, hanggat maaari, iwasan nila yung trabaho nila o yung sitwasyon nila sa trabaho nila. So these behaviors include the behavior change, physical withdrawal, and psychological withdrawal. Sa behavior change, ang employee, tatry niya munang baguhin yung sitwasyon niya na nagkakos sa kanya ng dissatisfaction. No, halimbawa, hindi na siya masaya sa management. So ngayon, magtatanong siya kung pwede siyang ilipat ng department. Okay, sa physical withdrawal naman, ang gagawin naman sa physical withdrawal phase, okay, pag hindi, let's say, hindi siya pinayagan, no? Hindi siya pinayagan na lumipat ng department, hindi siya pinayagan ng boss. No, or ng higher ups, higher management, no? So ang gagawin niya ay yon, he or she leaves the job or takes an internal transfer. Okay, parang lumilipat na siya nang hindi alam ng ng boss na unti-unti, then starts to become absent or tardy, no? Malagi na siyang absent, late, nag-awol, ayan. Okay, sa ano naman, no, sa psychological withdrawal, pag hindi nga siya nagawa or hindi niya naiwasan yung sitwasyon niya, no, ma-experience na niya yung psychological withdrawal. So dito naman, ano na siya, wala siyang pakialam. Okay, disengaged na siya, less committed, hindi na siya committed, wala, dahil I care. Ganun yung kanyang prinsipyo na, no? So, hindi na siya productive. which can create large cost to the organization, like such as dissatisfied customers. And again, we have discussed that previously, no, na if the employee is unhappy, then customers also are not happy. Okay? Kasi they're not being served well. Kaya, ayan, cost yun sa company. Then we have the process of job withdrawal. So yan, sisimulan natin yung, of course, dissatisfied na si employee. Okay, there are a lot of number reasons, no? Na-discuss na natin. And sa behavior change, ayan, lagi siyang nagsusumbong. Pag kasali siya sa union, lagi siya may reklamo sa union, no? Nagsusumbong na siya, no? Then yan na, nagsimula na siya mag-apply ng ibang trabaho, no? Then sa physical withdrawal, iwanan niya yung trabaho niya, lilipat sa ibang department, tatambay doon, or di kaya naman try niyang magpalipat, no, sa ibang department, no? At madalas na siyang, pag hindi na ilipat, madalas mag-absent or malate. Then pag wala, hindi niya talaga naiwasan yung sitwasyon niya, ayan na. Psychological withdrawal, pag at tingin niya rin ay may papalit na trabaho para sa kanya, may fallback na siya, ayan na, wala na siyang pakialam. Disengagement in job or with team members, less organizational commitment, and becoming less productive. Next theory is Hawthorne studies. So ito namang studies na to conducted by Elton Mayo, okay, in 1927 and 1932 in the Western Electric Hawthorne Works Company in Illinois. Okay? So ang study naman ni Elton Mayo, yung sa kanya naman is the physical and environmental factors of the workplace. Yung physical, no? Yung ambient conditions ng workplace, like yung lighting, break times, that would affect employee motivation. That's why, class, no, sa ibang companies, in order to motivate their employees, they have this very nice office spaces, interior facility, mga designs nila, no, magaganda. Okay, like sa mga companies, so BPO companies, yan, magaganda yung offices nila kasi ang trabaho ng mga nasa BPO madalas panggabi. Di ba? So, kumbaga, they make their offices as homey as possible, no? Para there should, parang feeling ng mga employee, there's always a home for you away from your home. Diba? So kaya sa mga offices, kita nyo, ang ganda-ganda ng kanilang, no, ang ganda ng ambience, ang ganda ng atmosphere, no? Kaya feeling mo gusto mo magtrabaho dito kasi ang ganda ng opisina. Okay? So whereas sa mga offices na makalat, diba, parang, ano ba to, nakakawala, parang ang laging busy, cluttered yung office space, diba, nakakawala ng gana magtrabaho pag gano'n. Ayan naman yung according doon sa study ni Elton Mayo. Eto na, class, alam niyo yan. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, high school, elementary pa lang tayo, inaaral na natin yung Maslow's na yan. No? Gamit na gamit niya si Maslow's. Okay, alam niyo na kung sino nag-develop niyan. Si Abraham Maslow. So, Abraham Maslow in 1943 developed what was known as the theory of human motivation. His theory was developed in an attempt to explain human motivation. So according sa theory ni Maslow, meron tayong hierarchy of 5 needs. And in the aspect, in the context of HR, as one level of need is satisfied, it will no longer be a motivator. Okay, so pag nasatisfy na isang need, di ba, meron tayong 5. So physiological, paangat yan safety, social, esteem, self-actualization. Pag ang isang need ay nasatisfy na, it will no longer be a motivator. So therefore, people should start working at the bottom, then paangat. Teka lang, then paangat. Okay, so pag na-meet na yung physiological needs, for example, ito naman yung unang-unang rason kung bakit nagtatrabaho, di ba? To meet the basic needs. Ano ba yung basic needs? Food, water, shelter. Okay? So pag yan ay na-meet na, okay, fine, sumisweldo ako, nami-meet ko yung needs, no? Ano nan kasunod? Okay? So habang nag-i-stay siya sa ganong sa ganong stage, no, yung nami-meet yung kanyang physiological needs, hindi na siya nasa-satisfy doon. So gusto niya nang umangat. 'Di ba? Parang gusto ko naman may umangat yung aking status. Okay? So syempre, sa physiological gusto niyang part na rin yung feeling safe siya sa kanyang working environment, physical environment, and there's a job security. Okay? So pag na-meet na yung dalawa, yung physiological and safe na siya sa trabaho niya. And then of course, gusto rin naman niya na hindi lang basta siya sumisweldo, hindi lang basta siya secured na sa trabaho. Gusto rin naman niya of course may good relationship between with his co-workers, no? Social needs. Okay? Or else pag wala yung hindi na-meet yung social needs, madi-dissatisfy siya ngayon. Okay? Kaya iba, di ba, ang rason nila kung bakit sila umaalis is hindi ako okay doon sa mga katrabaho ko. Okay? So, ayan. And then, pag na-satisfy na yung physiological safety and social, kahit na siya sa esteem. So, okay pa ba ako sa trabaho ko? Okay pa ba yung pakiramdam ko sa trabaho ko, sa ginagawa ko? No? So, dapat ma-meet niya yon yung esteem, no? Kung hindi, kung siya ay let's say feeling na inferior na siya or para feeling niya hindi siya binavalue or na-appreciate sa kanyang trabaho, pwede siyang umalis, ma-demotivate. Okay? So, kasi nga, gusto ko umangat pa eh. So, ano gagawin ko para tumaas pa ako? So, ma-realize ko pa yung worth ko. Self-actualization. Kasi ngayon, mag-a-apply siya for promotion or gusto niya ma-promote. Okay, self-actualization. Kasi hindi lang ito yung worth ko. So, gusto niya pataasin pa yung kanyang self-esteem. So, nakita niya may potential pa at tingin niya kaya naman niya. So, para ma-satisfy, aangat. Self-actualization. And then, pag hindi na pagbigyan, yung kagustuhan niya or hindi na-meet yung pinaka-last, no, pwede siyang doon magsimula na yung dissatisfaction. Okay, eventually, demotivation na. Okay, so kailangan yun, paangat, according to Maslow's. And then number 4, number 4 is Herzberg's two-factor theory. So developed in 1959 by Frederick Herzberg, where he published The Motivation to Work, which describes his studies to determine which aspects in a work environment cause satisfaction or dissatisfaction. So, ang ginawa ni Herzberg, nag-interview siya ng mga employees at tinanong niya kung ano yung nakakapag-please at displease sa kanila about their jobs or work. So, sa research na yon, na-conclude niya at na-develop niya ang motivation hygiene theory to explain the results. So, sa research niya, okay, meron tayong 6 na top 6 motivation factors. Okay, the things that satisfy the employees were motivators, which is yan, flashed on your screen. Then, while these satisfiers were the hygiene factors. Okay, yun yung mga dissatisfiers. Okay, yung hygiene factors na yan, of course, hindi sila motivators, no? Hindi sila motivators, yung hygiene factors. Nakakapag-dissatisfy nga eh, di ba? But if hindi sila present sa work environment, yung hygiene factors na yan, if hindi sila present sa work environment, they would eventually cause demotivation. Okay, in other words, yung hygiene factors, they are expected and assumed by the employee, which while they may not necessarily motivate. Okay, kailangan present to dahil kung hindi, made-demotivate si employee. So ito naman yung top 6 motivation factors. So achievement, recognition, the work itself, responsibility, advancement, and growth, their best capacity. So si hygiene factors naman, na pag wala itong mga ito, okay, ito kasi ina-expect at inaasahan at ina-assume ng employee, pag wala yan, okay, ma-lead ito sa motivational issues like company policies. O hindi naman nakakapag-satisfy yan. Actually, minsan ayaw pa nga nila, di ba? Pero, syempre, wala silang magagawa. Company policy yan eh. Kaya pag nawala yan or hindi naging present yan or may something missing, maguguluhan sila at it would lead to, yun nga, dissatisfaction sa kanilang mga trabaho. Supervision. Ayun ng mga empleyado na maya't maya minamanage or minamicromanage sila. Pero hindi naman yung totally mawawala ang supervision. Kasi wala rin namang mag-guide sa kanila. Then, relationship with manager. Diba? So, before, no, mga nasa sales, ayaw nilang binabantayan ng mga boss. Lalo na yung diskarte nila sa field. Pero, pag nawala yun, pag nawawala si manager, hinahanap nila. Kailangan nasa si boss, kailangan ko si boss, 'di ba? So, in fact, 'di ba? Ito yung minsan na kinaiinisan, no, si boss, no? Pero pag nawala si boss, wala, 'di ba, na naghahanap sila, no? Work conditions. Then salary, akalain mo 'yon, si salary ay nasa nasa hygiene. Okay? Kasi si salary, 'di ba, minsan syempre hindi tayo na-motivate lalo na pag ang salary ay hindi nagma-match sa feeling natin sa trabaho natin. No, like pababang sweldo. Pero pag ang salary ay nawala or ang liit na nga ng sweldo, delayed pa, hindi agad binibigay sa employee. So then, ayun, dissatisfaction occurs, no, or demotivation. Then relationship with peers. So yun yung 6 na hygiene factors. So we also have the theories or the theory MacGregor, the X and Y theory. So he proposed this theory in his 1960 book called The Human Side of Enterprise. So according to his theory, it understands how management styles can impact the retention of employees. So sa management style, meron daw 2 approach. Meron daw theory X managers at theory Y managers. So ang mga theory X managers, ito yung mga managers na may authoritarian management style because they have the following fundamental beliefs. So for them, ito yung mga prinsipyo nila, bakit sila ganon mag-manage. No? Bakit may pagka punitive style yung kanilang pag-manage. No? So, sa kanila kasi, the average person dislikes work and will avoid it. And most people need daw to be threatened with punishment to work toward company goals. So, the average person needs to be directed. Then, most workers will avoid the responsibility. That's why, ganyan sila mag-manage ng tao. And then, kay theory Y naman daw, on the other hand, so, meron siyang prinsipyo na theory na most people want to make an effort at work. So, people will apply self-control and self-direction in pursuit of company objectives. So, they trust their people, no? So, may empowerment. Commitment to objectives is a function of expected rewards received. People usually accept and actually welcome responsibility, and most workers will use imagination and ingenuity in solving company problem. So may tiwala, no? May tiwala si theory Y sa empleyado. Okay? At may believe sa employee. So makikita na kagad yung difference. Okay? So as you can see, yung dalawang paniniwala na yon, may malaki silang pagkakaiba. May malaking gap. No? So, and managers who manage under the theory X may have a more difficult time retaining workers. At as a result, they may see a higher turnover rates. Okay, as compared sa theory Y managers. Okay, as a result, of course, HR's responsibility is to provide training. Kaya nga there's also a management training, di ba, sa na-discuss natin before, but to provide training opportunities sa mga managers. So these managers can help motivate the employees. So that's why training, no, is also a part of the retention plan. Okay, and then theory is carrot and stick. As according to the study or no research, it's unknown where this term was first used. So, although some believe it was coined in the 1700s during the 7 Years' War. Pag sinabi mong carrot and stick, it refers to poking and prodding. Parang you point the employee to do something. Parang, uy, gawin mo to, uy, yan, no? So, tinatap mo siya, no? Parang in a negative way, no? You command, no? So, while the carrot approach naman, offering rewards, no? Or incentives to motivate employees. So, sa stick approach, syempre, may pagka-ano to, no? Theory X din, di ba? Parang tandem silang dalawa, no? So, sa approach na to, so Theory X, gumagamit ng ganitong approach, no? Stick approach, no? Kasi dito may pananakot, no? So, if you don't increase your sales by 10%, you will be fired. And everyone will have to take a pay cut or babawasan yung sweldo pag hindi tayo nakapag-produce ng 15% more than what we are currently producing. So, yan yung kay stick approach. And then, yun nga, may punitive look at retention. Okay, so of course, mag-work yan, especially for those employees who badly need a job, no? Na wala pa silang ipapalit na trabaho. But of course, it will only work for a short period of time. Hindi siya pang long term. So si Carrot naman, ang kanyang approach ay reward. So, let's say, for example, if your sales increase by 10%, you will receive a bonus. Or if we increase our sales by 15% or more, our team will receive an extra day off, or we will be having an out of town as a reward, no, a trip to Palawan, trip to Cebu, no, or trip to Japan, no, as a reward. Ayan. So, mas positive ang approach. Of course, no, nakamotivate ang employee, but still, hindi siya magiging ganun ka-effective, especially if it's the expectations, no, the expectations and the goals are not achievable. So it may cause demotivation to employees. So hindi naman kaya eh. Hindi natin kaya yan. So sir, hindi kaya. So demotivate ang empleyado. Okay? Then this approach, yung carrot, must be a part of the compensation plan. Okay? Para hindi naman pressured si employee. So it should be a part of the compensation plan. Pang individual, no? Ayan. Hindi siya pang as a team. Okay? So this is picture lang ni Carrot, no? Ayan. So we are done with the 5 theories and we are now on the sources of employee satisfaction data. So paano mag-gather yung data? No, after we have understand of why employees leave and thus different theories, research is the next step in developing a retention plan that will work for the organization. So pa-type na lang sa chat box yung mga theories na natutunan nyo. Okay? So again, there is no one size fits all approach to retention planning. No, walang pwede na yan, hindi, no? There should be a research component, no? And it is essential to formulate a plan that will make a difference in turnover rates. So research can be performed in 2 ways. First, we have the exit interview. So sa exit interview, ito ay kinoconduct ng HR para sa mga umaalis, nagre-resign. Okay, para makuha sila ng information na kailangan nila mula doon sa paalis na employee. So an exit interview, it is performed by the HR or manager that seeks information as to what the employee like at the organization and what they should improve. Okay? So I have experienced this exit interview in my last company where I worked. When I resigned, they conducted an exit interview with me, and then asking mga information about the company, ano ba yung nagustuhan ko, ano yung mga ayaw ko, kamusta yung relationship with the managers, ayan. So that they can gather information about employee satisfaction. And then that way, they could determine any retention issues that may exist in the organization. So yan na-experience ko before yan bago ko finally exit or finally na umalis. After clearance, ayan. Then, ito yung mga sample interview questions. So, what is your primary reason for leaving? What did you like most about your job? What did you like least about your job? Tinanong yan sa akin kasi actually, yung mga questions na yan. So, tinanong lahat yan sa akin nung ako'y in-exit interview. Yan. And then the second way to perform research is through employee satisfaction survey. Okay, so a standardized and widely used measure of job satisfaction is the JDI survey or Job Descriptive Index. So while JDI was initially developed in 1969 at Bowling Green State University, it has gone through extensive revisions and the most recent one in 2009. So JDI looks at 5 aspects of job satisfaction. We have the present job, present pay, opportunities for promotion, supervision, and co-workers. Okay, then sa paggawa ng employee satisfaction survey, there should be few things to consider, So like communicate the purpose and goal of the survey. Okay, and then once the survey is complete, communicate what changes have been made as a result of the survey and assure employees and their responses will be anonymous and private. So involve management and leadership in the survey development. Then ask clear, concise questions that get at the root of moral issues. So pag nag-gather na si data at na-analyze na, an HR can formulate retention plans. Again, every plan of the HR, including retention plan, should be tied to the strategic goals of the organization. And of course, the high performance work system previously developed. And of course, the awareness of motivational theories. Everything should be tied together, and be coupled with the plans. So here are the components of a retention plan. Okay, so JDI survey results, mga other survey results, exit interview findings, current retention plan, ano ba yung strengths and weaknesses. Then the goals of retention plan, ano ba yung goal ng retention plan? Of course, to reduce turnover. Then individual strategies to meet retention and turnover reduction goals. And again, consider the budget. Okay, this is an example. This is an example of employee satisfaction survey. So this is an online employee satisfaction survey. Ayan. Okay. Then, ayan na, implementation. Implementation of the retention strategies. Okay, so first is salaries and benefits. Okay, so salaries and benefits. Okay, so of course, again, compensation is not everything. An employee again, nababanggit ko before ito, no? An employee can be well paid and have great benefits, but still hindi sila satisfied with the organization. Now, again, there are still other factors, no? And some considerations surrounding pay as a way to retain employees are the following. Yan, yung tatlo na sa screen. So, instituting a standard process. Okay, so there are companies that do not have set pay plans, no, na nagresulta to sa unfairness, no, ng pagbibigay ng pasweldo. Okay? Unfairness when onboarding, and meaning it's the process of bringing someone on board with the company. No, hindi nila na-negotiate ng maayos yung compensation plan. No, so may mga ganyan na hinire na lang, then without yun nga, walang negotiation, walang no, hindi na maayos na nadi-discuss. Or offering pay increases. Again, the process for receiving pay raises must be fair, no, and defensible. Walang pinapanigan, walang discrimination, walang favoritism, no? So, again, it can be addressed in the compensation planning and retention plan. And a pay communication strategy. Again, employees deserve to know how their pay rates can be determined or are being determined. There should be a transparency in the process kung paano ibinibigay yung pay raises. No? So, alam dapat ng employee. No? Kino-communicate dapat sa kanila yan. And paid time off. Okay? Dito sa paid time off, for example, let's say consider implementing this PTO system that's based on the amount of hours an employee works. So for example, rather than developing a policy based doon sa number of hours worked for the company, no, company may consider revisiting the policy so that for every X number of hours work, PTO is earned. No? Kumbaga based sa number of hours work, no, may kinikita o binabayaran si employee. So ito ay yun nga, babalikan yung policy, so it can create fairness for the salaried employee, no, especially doon sa mga empleyado na nag-work more than the required 40 hours a week, no? So okay, so dapat ini-earn nila yan, no? Kasi iba lumalagpas at iba nagiging charity, no? Parang hindi sila binabayaran kahit na yun nga more than 40 hours a week na sila nagtatrabaho. No, again, kung gano'n, dapat ini-earn pa rin ng employee. Ayan, training and development, di na natin i-discuss class kasi na-discuss na natin yan na previously. Performance appraisal, no? Performance appraisal, so this is a formalized process to assess how well an employee does his or her job. Okay? So, ina-appraise ka, depende sa company, no? Nung kami, performance appraisal namin is every like 6 months, ganyan, 6 months. Depende sa company, iba naman annual. Okay? So, the effectiveness of this process can contribute to employee retention. So, yung mga napasok ko dyan yung mga KPIs, if you're meeting the KPIs or key performance indicators. So, in that employees can gain constructive feedback on their job performance. So, dito, of course, si manager, dinidiscuss niya yung mga areas for improvement. And kung may chance ba siya or na ma-promote. Okay, so pag kinausap ka ng ng manager mo, no, kumbaga ma-excite ka kasi ibig sabihin pag pinakita niya yung appraisal, may chance ka, lalo na kung maganda ang performance mo sa trabaho, may chance ka ma-promote. Okay, kung hindi naman, of course, constructive criticism, ano pa yung mga pwedeng ma-improve para ma-achieve mo yung mga goals mo. No? sa company. Okay, then succession planning. So of course, ito ay a process, no, of identifying and developing internal people sa loob ng company, no, who have the potential for filling position. Yung mga umalis o yung mga magre-retire, sino yung pwedeng pumalit? Successor, no? Again, yung mga nagre-resign. So it can be, yung mga nagre-resign kasi hindi lang naman yung mga employees na yung nasa entry level, pwede mga managers nagre-resign din. Lalo na pagka ayaw nila yung sistema, no, ng higher ups or authorities, management. So, umaalis din sila. No? Especially, yun nga, if they do not see career growth or potential, aalis. Okay? So, sino pwedeng papalit? Okay, ano yung goals ng succession plan? So, syempre, hindi na natin hahayaan pang may umalis na isa, ipopromote na natin. So, identify high potential employees capable of advancing to position na of higher responsibility and ensure the development of these individuals, help them be ready to earn a promotion and ensure diversity in the talent bench by creating a formal succession planning process. So, it should not be, this is my favorite, I'm going to promote him. Hindi ganon. Na dapat dumaan sa proseso para may diversity pa din. Then, flex time, telecommuting, and sabbaticals. So, kasi when you say, sabbaticals, this is an extra time away from work. No, parang nag-leave ka, then, binigyan ka ng leave na let's say 3 months and you needed an extra time pa, no, para mag-recuperate sa stress, no, and then bibigay nila sa iyo. It can be yun, bayad pa din, no, bayad pa rin yung leave na yon, no. So yun yung mga sabbatical leave. Okay, flex time. So ngayon very na sa atin yung flexible schedule, lalo na yung mga private companies na naka-work from home, telecommuting. So, kumbaga, nakakapag-promote ito ng work and life balance. So, if there's a flexible schedule, and especially for working mothers, no? So, ayan. Then, management training and conflict management and fairness. Ito yung pag may mga issues sa company, no? Of course, this is also a retention strategy where organizations handle conflict, no? Smoothly. Okay, so pag may patas, no, na panghuhusga, patas na panghuhusga. When you see outcome fairness, it refers to the judgment that people make with respect to the outcomes they receive. No, versus the outcomes received by others with whom they associate with. So it should be fair. No, kung ano yung, let's say, kung ano yung consequence dun sa kanya or let's say disciplinary action, parehas kayo, no? No, kung ano yung sa kanya, parehas kayo dapat, no? So ayan, when people are deciding if something is fair, they will likely look at procedural justice, no, or the process used to determine the outcomes received. Okay, it should be fair, no? There are 6 areas employees will use to determine the outcome fairness of a conflict. Consistency. So, kailangan kung ano yung in-apply na procedure doon sa isang empleyado, ganun din yung procedure na dadaanan ng kabilang party, no, and throughout periods of time. Then, bias suppression. Dapat there's no bias treatment. No, yun. Alam niyo na yung pagiging bias, di ba? Okay, information accuracy. Lahat ng information, hindi lang sa Marites, kundi nanggagaling, kundi dapat reliable and correct info. Correctability, no, the decision is able to be appealed and mistakes in the decision process or if there's any can be corrected. Representativeness, the employee feels the concerns of all stakeholders involved have been taken into account. So lahat ng mga concerns and mga information, details ay na i-document or naisulat. ethicality. It should be in line with the moral societal standards or according to the company policy. So, ayan. So, akalaan nyo yun, no? Pati conflict. Kasi may mga companies na hindi pa no, mag-handle ng conflict eh. No, just because may pinapanigan sila na party, eh, palalabasin nila na hindi mali or pagbigyan na lang. You know? Okay. Then another retention strategy. Okay. Next is job design, job enlargement, and empowerment. Okay. So, yun nga, again, no, as what we have previously discussed, one of the reasons for job dissatisfaction is the job itself, mismo trabaho. Okay, so ensuring that an HR appropriately match the skills with the job. No, so importante yun, kailangan match, no? Kaya sa recruitment process pa lang, smooth sailing na, no? So when you say job enrichment, it means adding more meaningful tasks. No? Other than yung pinaka main task mo, you add more meaningful tasks to make the employees work more rewarding. Like for example, parang there's a time na gumagawa kayo ng mga concepts sa inyong office, like mga let's say Halloween, 'di ba? May mga offices, 'di ba, yung mga empleyado nila gumagawa ng mga tawag doon, magde-decorate, no? Nagde-decorate ng mga opisina, ng pang Halloween or Christmas, no? Yung may mga skills at creative, no? May talento sa paggawa, no? Ng mga crafts, yun, no? So, inaalaw silang i-apply yun sa opisina or sa trabaho. No? Kaya nga kayo, di ba, mga marketers, kumbaga we bring out the best in you eh, lalo na kayo marketers, no? So kailangan creative, so ayan. And they allow employees to practice their skills and assign tasks revolving around this. So yun nga, parang may iba ka naman ginagawa yung skill mo na kumbaga yung namimiss mong gawin, no? Like arts and crafts or kung ano man, no? Nagagawa mo pa rin sa trabaho. Okay, so kaya nga sa mga application forms, they also have these skills na nakalagay. Anong skills mo, talent mo, singing or dancing. Yan. Okay. Ayan. Then, job enrichment can fulfill the higher level of human needs while creating job satisfaction at the same time. Okay. Yan. So, according to research by Richard Hackman and Oldham, they found that employees need the following to achieve job satisfaction. Skill variety, no, or mga different activities as part of the job. Task identity, no, or they're able to complete one task from beginning to end. Task significance, no, ano may impact nito sa ibang sa katrabaho, internally or externally, no, sa mga client. Ayan. Then autonomy or freedom to make decisions within the job, feedback or clear information about performance. Then job enlargement naman, ito yung adding new responsibility sa challenges, but sa ibang empleyado siguro syempre ayaw nila to, no, ayaw nila yung nadadagdagan ng mas maraming responsibilities. Okay, assigning an employee to a special project or task, that's an example of job enlargement. Although, dapat may appropriate na pagde-design yan kasi pwedeng ang employee ay ma-demotivate dyan dahil nga ayaw ng additional na trabaho. So, an employee might feel resentful, no, pag siya ay nabigyan ng dagdag responsibilities. Okay, so again, ayan, no, kailangan may something reward, no, may something reward. Ayan. So employee empowerment. So employee empowerment, it involves employees in their work by allowing them to make decisions. No, hinahayaan ang mga employee na mag-decide with the support of the company or the organization. Sige, ikaw nang bahala dyan. Ikaw ang bahala mag-handle niyan project na yan. So ano ba mga kailangan mo? No? Ikaw, ibibigay na lang namin yung support. Whatever it is. No? So yan yung sa employee empowerment. May tiwala doon sa employee. No, na kaya niyang gawin yung project na yon, yung task na yon, no, with the support of the management. No, so ito yung mga hindi binabantay kasi pag micromanage ka, kulang na lang pati sa CR bantayan ka no? Lagyan ng CCTV pati sa CR, no? So pag may tiwala sa iyo ang management, of course, hinahayaan ka nila. That's a form of empowerment. No? So ayan. So, ikaw nang bahala dyan, no? So, basta may tiwala kami sa'yo. Kung ano man kailangan mo, ibibigay namin. Okay? So, empowerment can include the following. Encourage innovation or new ways of doing things. No, diskarte mo yan. Sige, baka may bago kang input sa company. No, na pwede natin magamit sa mga susunod. No? So, make sure employees have the information they need to do their jobs. Now, for example, they are not dependent on managers for information in decision-making. Binibigay na sa kanila yung mga kailangan nila. Then, use management styles that allow for participation, feedback, and ideas from employees. Then, pay for performance strategies. So, alam na natin to, na-discuss na natin to, no? Yung merit-based pay. No? Nire-reward sila, no? Base sa kanilang performance. Okay? Yan. Hindi na natin i-discuss pa to class, no? Yan. Then, ayan, work and life balance. No? So, ito yung kailangan ng mga employees, especially nowadays. So, akalain nyo yun, ang work and life balance ay na-discuss na at nag-originate during the 1960s and 1970s and only pertaining mostly to working mothers, no? Meeting the demands of their family and work. Okay, so during the 1980s, the realization that meeting a work and life balance is important for all, not just working mothers. So para sa lahat na siya. It resulted in companies like IBM, no, implementing flexible time and home-based work solution. Okay, kasi nakakapag ano na sila na may time na for family, for personal life, no? Kaya yan, nag-implement na ng flex time and home-based. Okay, so the awareness of this work and life balance problem continued into the 1990s when policies were developed and implemented but not acted upon by managers and employees. So kaya hanggang ngayon, itong work and life balance ay issue pa din kasi hindi naman masyado kumbaga hindi siya masyadong fino-focus parang minsan ito yung na kakalimutan. Kaya hanggang ngayon may mga employee pa rin na hindi nila ito yung isa sa mga hindi ma-meet yung work and life balance. No, kaya iba na de-demotivate. No, kaya kailangan there should be kumbaga tamang policy no para dito. No, para sa work and life balance. And other retention strategies. For this, we have yun nga mga gym membership, na kanya-kanya na yan, depende na yun sa company. No, on-site yoga, on-site life coach, peer-to-peer employee recognition program like employee of the month, no, rookie of the year, ganyan. Management recognition programs. So class itong part na to, basahin nyo na lang kasi ano naman to, no, easy to understand. So pakibasa to kasi iba dito ay na-discuss na rin natin. Okay, so pakibasa, lalo na yan Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Napakibasa na lang to class. Okay? So ito yung mga videos, so you can just search it on YouTube. Yung mga different motivational mga theories of motivation. Yan. Kina-discuss ko na rin kanina. Okay? So that's it for